Katherine Fletcher.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's a pleasure to follow my honourable friend in this address. He's yet again demonstrated the wisdom, worldview and passion that the people of North West Cambridgeshire have benefited from in many years. It's also an honour to second the humble address to Her Majesty, who, despite a difficult year, well, let's face it, is still flipping ace. Now, proud of Lancashire and South Ribble, I looked up previous speakers in this role, only to discover none from Central Lancashire, ever. Other bits of Lancashire pop up, Mr. Speaker. In 1919, we had Lieutenant Commander Percy Dean. In 1924, we had Lord David Balneil. Well, in the 21st century, this untitled and unentitled woman is happy to report back to South Ribble that many things have changed, not least the people that represent you. And as always, I promise to always do my best for you. Now, it's traditional during this address to speak about place and policy, and I will. But I want to focus on the thing these extraordinary times have highlighted as vital to this chamber and to all of us. That thing that we miss so much: people. This COVID pandemic has been awful for all of us. We've lost too many people before their time to a nasty new disease, and to stop that number being much, much higher, we've all, as a country, sacrificed much that is truly important to keep others safe. These empty seats should be occupied with a seething wall of humanity, the bricks from all over our wonderful United Kingdom. But this Queen's speech shows the government has not been solely focused on infection prevention and vaccine rollout. They've kept going with plans to build back better for all of the people that sent us here. And in this place too, we changed our ways to keep people safe, and it's not only easy to do. I mean, think of the poor Chief Whip, the Right Honourable Member for Sherwood, charged with corralling MPs' votes in a socially distanced way. It reminds me, Mr. Speaker, of Alan Rickman in that 90s Robin Hood film. You, 10:30, you, 10:35, and don't bring a friend. Now, I bet the Chief is now regretting this isn't a virtual contribution where he can accidentally stand on the plug. But after these socially distant sacrifices, the people of South Ribble and beyond want this government's action in the measures outlined today that the Chief Whip will steer through Parliament. They are the foundations to truly deliver on our promises for this country. Now, I've detected worries in some areas with money that other parts of the country have their hands out, expecting something for nothing. That's not levelling up in my book. Across swathes of the regions, we've not had attention or the seed investment for decades. We don't want a handout of a shiny white elephant, scheme, keep the natives happy, here today, gone tomorrow. We don't want a fish, and frankly, we're too proud to take it. We want a fishing rod to help us grow our economies to everybody's benefit. In broad strokes, we need better infrastructure, rail, buses, broadband to enable more people to access more jobs. And whilst I don't speak for all, I do speak for many when I say invest in us and we will pay you back with innovation and practical nous, which ultimately delivers tax revenues for our valued services. For example, my brilliant business idea is to export T-shirts with "You're on mute." It'll save everyone a lot of bother if we have to go through this again. It will take time, but history is a long arc. In industrial areas like in the Midlands and the North, we did it before the Second World War. Are you going to bet we can't do it again? The measures today start to address decades of problems, which for many mean it's harder to get private investment, public investment, pump priming capital to enable global trade and business sector leadership, ultimately creating well-paid jobs. All of us want homes our kids can afford or rent securely, and this government's reforming planning so it's more in the hands of locals, properly agreed in advance. We need to protect our green spaces, have a say in where we build homes, and regenerate disused shops or brownfield sites. We don't need to be sitting around in cold, drafty rooms arguing again and again about overly long documents. So, to all of the people of this great Isles, North, South, East and West, let me return to the theme of people. Why do I stand here confident today that we'll deliver on our promises given time? Well, as the marvellous returning wearer of the West Midlands, Andy Street, highlighted in his acceptance speech at the weekend, whilst individual people are important, it is teamwork that really makes the difference. So can I take this opportunity to welcome the Right Honourable Member for Hartlepool to this team? Like all of us, when we first get here, I bet her head is spinning. So may I offer her and the thousands of people across the country who lent this team their votes a brief explainer of what you've actually got here. Right, for example, this Queen's speech introduces important measures to protect animal welfare, a theme close to all of our hearts. So let me run with an analogy regarding this place. The 2019 intake have bounded into Westminster politics like spaniels in a wood, enthusiastically sniffing every tree. All glossy-eyed and tongue-flapping, they must appear to more seasoned observers, occasionally above the Westminster bracken, bouncily passionate about the places they're from, and pushing with enthusiastic energy to level up and make lasting change. But, as any upland farmer will tell you on the fell gather, you do need the bouncy pups, but you also need the grey-chinned old dogs, sitting imperiously on the rise. You know, rise in the ground, looking for problems of years past and scanning the horizon for new ones. The slight eye roll, the small aside, my dear, don't do that. It was tried 20 years ago and it failed because. I've had months of work saved by this wisdom, although I will confess surprised that it was ever possible to walk into a village pub and order whilst having 2 loaded shotguns strapped to your back. We also, seriously, we also have those elected more recently, most not really of the Westminster bubble, fiercely proud of place, passionate about their hometowns and their communities, because they live there. It's their homes. We want what you want because we aren't other, we are you, truly part of our places. We have kick-ass ladies, lovely mums, ex-spads, lads, gents, gay and straight, businessmen, servicemen, all available in a variety of colours of melanin. It's the sheer diversity of this team Tory which will strike the Honourable Member for Hartlepool when she takes her place. And I know all of those straight and gay who've worked together will be delighted with the measures announced today to ban the abhorrent practice of conversion therapy, whilst importantly protecting private prayer. Institutional knowledge, coupled with life experience, that's this team Tory. When me and the Red Wall lads go out for a pint after work, they revel in this diversity too. We joke about woke, or whether they're the gammons, representatives of many. Hilarious, I thought. Enjoyed the crack over a beer. All good fun. Up until the Honourable Member for Warrington South pointed out that if they were the conversation's gammons, that made me the ring of pineapple on top. On the pub theme, someone should quickly administer smelling salts to the Secretary of State for Culture and his ministerial colleagues. After the number of messages they received from these benches about the European Super League and its affront to the football pyramid, they definitely need them. And to be clear, the messages were not only received from those colleagues possessed in the correct way of saying Bath, although I do concede that my honourable friend, the member for Orpington, may differ on that topic. So, to the DCMS team, sorry but not sorry, but stopping the anti-football league in its tracks has not distracted the Secretary of State from bringing forward bills to sort out 5G, broadband and preventing online harms. Yeah. Bringing a football view of what's important to this place, Team Tory. But that's not all. The government is a system in its own right, and you need people who have worked in it and know how to get things done. These pure-breed hounds team up with the Heinz 57 mutts to work for you. Ex-insiders and former spads who've offered help and advice without a hint of condescension, but occasionally twitch with a slightly panicky, "Don't do that!" They've already helped get legislation passed to protect children from plastic surgery and women from violence. And it's a two-way street. Like when the members for Darlington, Stockton-on-Tees and Redcar explain nicely again what a chicken parmo is and why it's important. In fact, all the Team Tory leadership are investing with practical advice and support because it's the delivery that's important. For example, I think of the Secretary of State for Work and Pensions when faced with another zingy piece of newbie enthusiasm, the deep sigh, the fold of the arms. Well, some of the people in South Ribble have no faith in politicians and say, you're all the same. No, we aren't. What you've got here is true representative democracy, and what this produces is not just passionate government, but effective government from this Team Tory. Right, is there anyone I haven't mildly insulted yet? I'm not that daft. Plus, I've not got the box that she'd need to stand on to properly give me the look. Fine. I know how the criminals running illegal immigration rackets feel. This government has bills here to stop them. And if you commit violent crime, then this Queen's speech means the Home Secretary will throw both the book and the look at you. This Team Tory keeping our communities safer. And think of the poor Prime Minister, heading up this mixed pack, this rabble, the grey-haired, the ginger-brown or curly black-haired, the no-haired, the pineapple blonde, the actually blonde. He crafts his speeches with great learning, but when he says Homer, more likely these days he'll get the answer Simpson from these benches than he'll get classical allusions. Now I know why he plays with his hair so much. It's pure exasperation. Sorry, boss, but we get the general gist, and so do the people we represent. Because what the people of South Ribble want, and the people we represent want, is what the bills in this Queen's speech lays the foundations for. Better infrastructure so we can get to our work quicker, skilled jobs in the green revolution of the 21st century, the ability to get the training we need to access those jobs with a lifetime skills guarantee, levelling up, not taking money from other places, but by investing, so through global trade and key industries we can grow our economies, reinvigorating those places with the practical history and the pride to deliver. Commentators would have these benches at war with each other, different packs with nothing in common. Not from what I've seen, although I don't know whether that sounds familiar to any of the benches opposite. This Team Tory focused on not forgetting anyone, not taking anyone for granted, rubbing along, laughing at each other, helping each other, working together for our whole United Kingdom to level up and build back better. It's my privilege, Mr. Speaker, to commend Her Majesty's speech to the House.